Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortune me blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. For that game plan, show out like a drop pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the crossy squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope.
Happy Thursday, everybody. How y'all doing out there today? I don't know about you, but it's been a long day in my world, but I'm glad to be here. Thankful we have made it through another week. It is Friday, Junior, my favorite day of the week. Why? Because we get to spend some time together, these 60 to 90 or so minutes. We get to be in this space with you, and you. So welcome to Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, on where none other than the greatest network on YouTube. That's right. I'm extremely biased and rightfully so. We are on the Bravo with Sheila Network, and we pay homage to the Queen Bee, Pastor Sheila Ingram herself, for yielding us this captain's chair. And so we thank you on tonight. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulty right there for a moment, but we are back. And so again, yes, thank you for joining us on tonight. We are back. The month of May is here. Can you believe it? We are in the 5th month of the year. It's going by so fast, but we are glad to be here on tonight. And we are going on with what tonight? The ladies' room. That's right. My ladies are in the building on today, and I cannot wait to bring them on up because we got some good talk on tonight. So let's see what we got going on in the comment section. We got none other than the Psalmist Voice, aka Pastor Chris, one of the lead moderators of the Men's Lounge. He says, "What's good, Bravo Nation?" I can't do it like him. Let's go, family. It's Thursday nights with Lady Dawn B. That's my that's my interpretation. Do it my way, but y'all know how he do. And Mama Ava is in the house. She is the mother of our Lady Deshawn, who is here with us on tonight. So I'm going to ask everyone if you would do how we do here on the Bravo with Sheila Network, especially on Thursday nights. Please like, subscribe, and share. Help us grow this network, get this information out. And we want to say hello to everyone. And for those of you that are up in the silent section, the expensive seats, we encourage you to come on down to the comment section. I promise you it's safe. We got security down here, and we appreciate you being in the building. Don't be shy. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up the ladies' room squad on tonight. I'm excited about this conversation, and then we're going to share. So we got who? None other than our Lady Deshawn Bill in the house. Say hello to the people, sis. How you doing?
Happy Thursday, everybody. So glad to be back in this space, especially for this conversation. It's going to get good.
Hold
on to your seats.
And next up, we have, she is new to the platform, but not new to the space. She usually hang out in our comment section, but I'm so glad she chose to come on and join us on tonight. So we adding a new voice into the space. So y'all get ready to hear some good gems, some jewels, and make sure you pick them up. None other than my sister, my girl, my friend, love her so much. Lady Zinja is in the building. Come on, say hi to the people.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are so glad. I'm sorry, we having all type of stuff going on tonight. Okay, well, there's that. We're gonna get it together before we get it together. So, welcome to Thursday night with Lady Dawn B. Ladies and just so glad you joined us on tonight to share on some good information. I am excited to have you here, and she is no stranger at all. Y'all know her, y'all love her. She is the bit of the firecracker, but she brings it plain, straight, no chaser. She is my sister, Dr. N.D. Brown. She is our sister, I should say. Dr. N.D. Brown is in the building. Come on, greet the people, sis.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm a little laid back today. I got two little people here with me. Lord have mercy. Pray my strength with the grandbabies. Lord.
That's all right. That's all right. They might have something to add into the conversation on tonight. So I'm glad that you ladies are here. Thank you for joining us. Everyone, do me a favor again, like, subscribe, and share. Help us pump our numbers up and help us to build this amazing network. So on tonight with the ladies in the house, I wanted to bring back a topic that actually introduced about a year ago around this time. And every now and then we got to revisit some stuff. We got to retalk some stuff, or we got to renegotiate contracts. Sometimes we got to, rethink it, see how we've changed, if anything has changed. And this was a good topic, a good subject. And I'm so glad that you ladies are here to share in it on tonight. So our topic on Here Comes Trouble, LOL, Dr. ND. I'm sorry, we got a little buffering situations happening as well. That's right. That's right. Do you know Dr. ND don't play with it? Okay, so you better be ready for the good goods because it's coming to you. So, on tonight, our topic is strong female energy does not replace strong male presence. Now, I know it's kind of long, but we could kind of shorten it and just say, ladies, do you really need a man or not? Like what we doing? Uh, you know, it's funny because we as women have gone through so much. We have endured many things. We have struggled through some stuff. We have persevered through a lot. We have become leaders in our own right and in spaces that were once male dominated. And we often, I feel like we get a bad rep sometimes for being independent. So it's like, well, which one you want? Do you want us to be the damsel in distress, or do you want us to be this independent woman that we have become and we should be? Um, but what has happened quite often, I found also, is that we have the attitude, and we've all heard this said, I'm sure, that I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I can buy my own house. I don't need a man. I get my own car. I don't need a man. I can pay my own bills. I don't need a man for whatever millions of reasons that we say we don't need a man. However, it seems that when that comment is made, we're diminishing our men to just those things because we're standing in our own independence. So we want to kind of talk about that tonight because we do want to build up and empower our men. And we want our ladies to maybe start thinking a little differently, because how else do we restore the community and the relationships between men and women and create this cohesive unit if we're constantly in this space of I'm every woman, it's all of me, and I don't need you. So we have to go from existing and surviving without a man, I believe, to the place that we now have to learn how to live with them. Like, we have to learn again how to live with them. And it's not absolute. Let me say this, the disclaimer, before I go further, and then I turn it over to my ladies. Okay. Bravo with Sheila Network is not a Christian based network. Okay, we are here to have healthy conversation. None of us are experts. We are coming on. We are experts in the journey of our lives, and we're coming to share our information, to have healthy conversation, real talk with real resolutions. Okay, and so while we are believers individually, Bravo with Sheila Network, we do support, encourage, respect, and honor everyone's thoughts, feelings, or beliefs. Whatever your moral compass is, we embrace it and we respect it. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I always say I'm a God's girl, so you go get some Jesus no matter where I go. And we already know how Dr. ND rolls. You're gonna get some good God with her. We know that there's a word in Lady Deshawn's mouth, so it's gonna come out. And y'all about to learn Lady Ginger on tonight, because she's powerful with some scripture too. So we just saying, we just gonna be us, okay? But we just having real conversation. So ladies, I just want to open up the floor. First of all, we do have a couple of conversation guiding questions. And I think I want to start with, have you ever been of the mindset that I don't need a man? And if you have, why or why not? Whoever wants to start first, just pop up off your mind.
Get off today. I've never been that girl. I've never been that I don't need a man girl. I have never been her. However, I have been the girl that I don't need a man if I got to do it all by myself. If I got to do it by myself and I got to lead, I got to pay the bills, I got to take out the trash, I got to take care of the kids, cook, clean. If I got to do it all, I might as well be by myself. Now, I have been that girl. Okay. But I also understand that also comes from picking the wrong men. So taking a look in the mirror, sis had to get herself together and say, it might not be these dudes. It might be you. They just might not be ready for everything that you bring and to give you the same. So I've never been the I don't need a man girl, because I firmly believe that every woman needs a man. I don't care. Y'all not going to like it. That's my take on it. You need them one way or another. We need each other. That's my take.
Okay, Lady Shaw said, I have never been that girl. She's never been that. Let's welcome some people in the midst. Welcome, Disciple Spencer. Says, good evening, ladies. The psalmist's voice says, oh my. He also says, independent or pride. Oh, really? We go in there, shots fired? I don't know. I'm feeling some kind of way about that. So, right. I asked the Men's Lounge to tune in on tonight to hear this conversation, because next week they're going to have the same topic, but they're going to talk about it from the male perspective. So he's looking for his fellow brethren to ask where they at. We also have Lady Pache, Coach Pache, in the building on tonight. Hey, Coach Pache. She is one of the co-founders of the most amazing writing group, Harlem Girls Inc., and she is a part of the network. She and Dr. Elaine have their show on Monday nights, Beyond the Mic. So make sure to tune in, tap in. We all support each other here. Let's see. Disciple Spencer says, yes, I have, because of past relationship. Okay. I think I can agree with Lady Deshawn on the angle of I have been that girl who has said I don't need a man, especially if I got to do everything on my own. If I got to do it on my own, then I don't need you, I don't. But then again, if you got to do everything on your own, who do you need? So that's a good point. Disciple says, I'm grateful to God that I had to take a look in the mirror. Let's see, Destiny Temple Ministries. Hey, Pastor Lindsay, Lady Rhonda, thank you for being in the building. Mama Ava says, yes, I have been that girl. I actually have been too. I've been that. I've been that. I got there. So we're gonna get into some more of these comments, but come on, ladies, who wants to go next? Have you ever been of that mindset that I don't need a man?
With Lady Deshawn, I have never been of that mindset. Even in bad relationships, I feel like you need a man. I want a man. Like most of you, I was brought up in the church. So, that's all I know. And if it's done right, if the man comes into the household right, or into your life, he's valuable. And you see how he's needed. I don't want to be strong all the time. I don't.
Talk about that. Tired. I can agree with that too. I believe that, I've gone from one side to the other. And I think for me, when I was in that place of I don't need a man, I was angry, and so I shut myself off. Like, just watching, you got to be careful of who you keep around you and the relationships that you watch, and the people that you connect with, because sometimes we use other people's relationships as a gauge as to what ours should be, because we see the outside, but we don't know the inner working. So for me, I think I was in a really bad, angry place. I was like, well, I don't need no man. I don't need all of this. I don't need what comes with y'all. I got it. I got me, and I got it by my whole self, all of it. Didn't say I didn't want one. I was just like, I didn't need one. So I feel on that sense. Come on, ND, bring it on home, Doc.
So here's my response. Oh my God. So my response was, I wouldn't say that I didn't need one. I only needed them to do whatever I needed them to do. Because I was that girl. So I'm not gonna pretend that I was saved my whole life, because I wasn't. So I am going to say, for those who think that everybody woke up with a Bible in their hand, that's not my portion. I got what I needed to get done. And I wouldn't say that I didn't need one. I needed one to do whatever I needed to get done at the time I needed it to get done. And then when I was done, they were done. I think that's the best way to put it. So I didn't think that I didn't say that I didn't need one. I'm not also going to say that I didn't want one, because I had what I needed when I needed it. So it was based on my terms and what worked for me. As I've gotten older, and as I've lived a little something, I understand. I wouldn't necessarily say about needing it. I would say that it was more of a requirement for the things that are happening because of the things that I'm involved in. I just said to my girlfriend today that I don't desire to do this particular part of my life alone, because I've done a good portion of it. I've had some test runs, which good thing I was able to return them. So yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, you said that we're not all church. I mean, I'm talking to those. I know for those who still wear the dollies on their heads, and then they sanctify with the long skirts, this might be a little bit too much for them, but I'm okay with that. I did what I needed to do. I think again, my kids are now older. My children are now parents. I've done my part. And ministry, these past couple of years of doing ministry solo has changed my perspective a great deal about being by myself. I mean, I enjoy my space. I'm not going to say that I'm willing to let it all go, but I also know that this part of my life, I want to enjoy it with someone who has lived a little, matured. Prayerfully, he's matured a little. And ready to do what needs to get done. But yeah, I don't know if I could say I was either or. I just did what I needed to get done. They all had a purpose.
Everything has a purpose, right? So everything has a purpose, a time, and a season under the sun. Right.
And I think because of the generation that I came from, it wasn't so much of us saying we need it. I think that it was. I come from a generation where people stay for the sake of staying, comfortability. I come from a generation where, I've seen my grandmother take care of my grandfather. And then my mom and my dad is when I saw that there was a difference in the culture. And then even as I've grown and I see, it's not necessarily that. I think that we've become so, I got to get it done. And I think that that's what society has told us, that we get to that space where we say we don't need. And I think that the conversation somewhere along the line, the bridges have been clipped, and neither one can get to either side.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And that's good. We're here to keep it real. And even those of us who with a doily on our head and in every prayer, service that goes on, guess what? We wasn't always there. So we have a real past. you know, and we have a true story. We may not want to talk about it, you know, we may feel that we're ashamed of it, but you know, it is what it is. Your journey is your journey. And at some point in time, I think that we also have to think about defining what the need is. You know, when you say I don't need a man, and needing it versus wanting, you know, we got to consider, because needs change. Needs will change as you go. What I need today, I didn't need 20 years ago. You know, my son turned 22 yesterday. He doesn't need me like he did when he was 9. So as needs change, you know, we have to be able to be flexible with that. And we don't, with this mindset of I don't need a man, we don't make room for men to be in our lives. You know, we don't make room to embrace them and to allow them to be there. And I think sometimes we've built up such a strong independent presence that we tend to feel, or some tend to feel, that if I let this man in my life, like I don't need him to tell me what to do, because I definitely have been that woman. Like, sir, please don't come over here trying to tell me what to do, because that ain't gonna work. Who are you talking to? You know, like my daddy is no longer here, you know, and when he was here, you ain't him. Yeah, I was a whole hot mess. Really, I was like, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. It's my house, my stuff, my money. I'm gonna do what I want. This is the spaces where, like ND said, I need you for what I need you for. You know, and if you can't fill those spaces in, then, you know, it's nice seeing you, but I'll see you when I see you, you know, which is purely selfish.
No, there was a waiting list. There was a waiting list.
Well, hey now. I'm not mad at your waiting list. There was. That's what there is now. There was. But we talking truth. There was. You know, I didn't have a waiting list, but I did have an assignment sheet. You know, certain people, you call on for certain things. That's just how it was. Now, y'all take it any way you want to take it. I'm not responsible for your thoughts. I'm just saying what it was. Some people you want it for company. Some people you want it for church. Some people you want it for deep conversations. Some people you want it for entertainment, whatever that entertainment may be. We are a mature audience. I'm just saying, we keeping it real, because we really want to open up the dialogue and cause ourselves to start thinking about the boundaries and the barriers that we are putting up, that are causing our relationships not to come together, you know, and our men are suffering, and so are we. I would like with Zinja, because I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't want to be strong all the time. I want to be able to, like, can I be the girl? Can I be the lady? Can I be dainty? Can I be fragile? Can I be that? You know, can I be that? But in order for me to be that, I have to make room for it and not have the attitude that we have with this, our strong female energy. And there's nothing wrong with having strong female energy. It's just, we have to know how to shift. We have to know how to balance.
So can I just that's what you said right there about what being feminine and having that energy. And I think that a lot of people are at a crossroads. I know, because I just listen to the conversation that the church is having, and that the world is having, and that the church in the world is having. And I think that we've gotten to a point where if we are aggressive, we're angry. If we're soft, we're weak. If we don't ascertain or have a certain particular skill set, we're not valuable. If we have the skill set and we've acquired the qualifications and we superseded, then we can't go no further, and then we're only good for a certain path. We're only good for certain. And the more education you get, the more experience you get, the greater you are, the bigger the challenge you are. So I think that the conversation is how do we, I think how is it that us as women can still maintain our femininity, still have all of our great attributes, not be considered angry and frustrated because we have a voice that tells us, like, listen, we put the work in just like you did, and we deserve a right at the table. And I think for me, I've gotten tired of asking to sit at tables, and I now have started to create my own. because at this point of my life, I think my whole life, you know, we were taught that we had to do one thing, we had to be one way, we had to do this, we had to follow this pattern. And now here it is at this junction of my life. I was trying to follow a pattern, and I'm looking at the people who followed it. They're no greater than those that didn't follow it. So where do we find the common ground so we can just do what we need to do and be great at it?
Dr. Andy, I don't think that will ever go away. I think it's based upon who you're in front of and how they perceive you. A lot of men are intimidated by strong women. So when you are assertive, it's an issue for them. But there are some men who are not. So they don't see you as being aggressive. So it just really depends on the other person's outlook.
To that too is we as women have to learn how to create that balance, right? Because it's okay to be strong, assertive, and independent in those spaces. But then when you're talking relationship and you're talking about feminine energy, you don't want to bring that same assertiveness, that same independence into the relationship. Yes, he knows you're strong. Yes, he knows you can handle it on your own, but men need to be needed. Just like women want to feel valued. So you have to allow that man to be a man. And if you're unable to do that in those private, intimate spaces with each other, that's where it then becomes a conflict and you're too masculine or you're too strong and too independent, where Pastor Chris or the psalmist voice said, it can become a pride thing because you don't know how to stop being the manager. You don't know how to stop being so strong and independent and always having to insert your opinion or let your voice be heard. We have to find a balance in between corporate America, so to speak, and our private lives at home with our husbands. And that is what causes the disconnect between men and women most times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something some of us have to unlearn. Because we've been doing it so long,
yes,
there hasn't been a male for you to stand behind. You've always had to be out front. So because you're just used to doing that out of habit, you have to unlearn it. I know sometimes it's been hard for me to even, you are used to just opening doors for yourself, So I'm outside the car already before, by the time he gets around and he's like, get back in, So it's just really about unlearning those behaviors.
Listen, sis, you ain't on your own on that one. I think that was one of our first and biggest arguments was opening doors. Like,
so I'm going to speak on behalf of the completely single women. Okay, because I'm gonna speak on behalf of the completely single women. All right. As from the completely single woman perspective, I can say that because I'm completely single. Okay, y'all are not. Okay, all right. Let us have our soapbox moment. Thank you. I think that one of the things I've encountered, even with this recent assignment I had in Virginia, and I'm starting to encounter it more and more, that there's an issue between service and submission. And one of the things that I said when I left Virginia, I was like, Lord, what's happening with this submission? Because we talk about it, but we don't truly understand it. And I had to tell somebody that you don't understand that there is power in submission. There is a level of power that is unspeakable. And I'm hoping that those single women, because I'm telling y'all as a single woman, but we have to discern when submission is necessary and required. We think that submission makes us lose our momentum. It takes away our voice. It doesn't allow us to have the authority that we think that we need to have. Just as Zendaya said and Deshaun said about opening the door. It's about submitting and waiting. It goes to the service about waiting. And sometimes being service means that you don't move expeditiously. Because I dated somebody, he was a butthead, but he opened doors. And so I had to process. And I'm from New York. We do what we do. We got. I ain't got time to be waiting for you to open up the door, bro. Let's get inside and. But I had to understand that is part of me shifting and preparing, because I hear, well, I want a husband, but we're not asking and seeking the things that are going to prepare us to be wives. Because I've been single for literally 20 years. I kind of got to learn some things differently, because I've not had anyone in my space that would warrant husband material or warrant me putting him in a place as a husband. I've had boyfriends, I've had, you know, successful friendships. I guess that's a good thing. Successful friendships. But I've never had someone who I would have thought would have been a purpose partner. But as I shifted, I realized that what I wanted and what I was getting, I would have to compromise. And how much of myself did I want to lose to get only part of what I thought I could get? I'm gonna leave it right there.
That's good. Let me read some comments, and then we're going to get back into the conversation. I see you, Zinja, and I want to make sure you get your share in. But I just want to read some comments in the building on tonight. And again, welcome everyone to Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B. We are here in the ladies' room talking it up tonight. Our topic is, does strong female energy, let me rephrase it. Strong female energy does not replace strong male presence. And we have Lady Deshawn. We got the lady squad in here. Lady Deshawn, we got Dr. ND, and we have a new voice to the platform. You usually see her in the comments, but she is in the building on the stage with us tonight in Lady Zinja. So I want to just greet everyone. Please like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate it. And we say thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. As Pastor Sheila says, it is what? Free 99, and sharing is caring. So I want to greet some more people. Gregory Bloomfield, my brethren, is in the building on tonight. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. Promote Conscious Parenting with the Harris is here as well. Welcome, welcome. The greatest moderator in these YouTube streets is in the building, Lady Inay Kenya, and we are glad and grateful. I'm trying to get to the comment section. I'm sorry, y'all. I live up in these mountains, so there's some buffering that's happening. Y'all just be patient with me. So Pat Shay says, as soon as I finish his comments, we're going to get to Lady Zinja to share. Pat Shay says, we submit when he submits to God. Submission is not a bad word or the enemy. If we stop submitting to men that don't submit to God, we will be good. Amen. And for those of us who are believers, we know that that is good and well and true. We just have to incorporate it into our lives, because we know a lot of things and we don't do a lot of things, and we do have to stop. We have to start putting into practice. Von Eric is in the building. Good evening, Von Eric. Thank you for joining us on tonight. Pache also says, I'm trying to pause. Wow. I think I'm back now. Okay. He's greeted. Pache also says, when God sends the right male, we will know when to lay down the male energy. That's true. Some of us do and some of us don't. And I think that goes back to, as Zinja was saying, about us unlearning some things, because the right man can be in your life and we still have been so, we're stuck in being who we've become because of what we learned, that we don't know how to do anything else. Like you said, that like Dr. ND said about opening the door, we New York, we do what we do. We ain't got no time. We in a hurry. We don't mean to be abrasive. That's just our way. And I think with that it comes us unlearning those habits, but us also learning how to be ladies, not just women. Learn to be treated like a lady. And in order to do that, you have to define what that is, to you. Pache says, I think we can remain in our feminine energy. We just have to know when to yield. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. HB says, shout out to waiting list and assignment sheets. LOL. Listen, that was a time. That was a time in life. Sure enough, it's important. You got to keep order. You got to keep order. That's what that does. Helps keep order in the place. Disciple Spencer says, amen. I want to wear dresses, giggle, and have date night. Yes, absolutely. Whether you married, single, like don't stop having date night because you get married. Like whatever you did to get with each other, keep doing it to keep each other. And in matter of fact, increase it. You know, listen, there's no holds barred in marriage. I've been there, done that. We all have marriage is a beautiful thing. Now do what you can do to keep it when you get it, when you got it, and when you got it with the right person. So you know that is key and important. The psalmist says bitterness can play a part. That was part of our earlier conversation, and I believe that's all the comments that we have to catch up on so far. So come on, Zenja, and share. Thank you.
Oh, just a couple of things I was going to say. I believe now they call it a roster. Now they call it a roster. And Dr. Indy, that's a good book. Unlearning Singleness. That's a good book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I when it comes to submission,
I hear you.
submission is not a dirty word. It's a deserving word. And when you're in a relationship and you're having a hard time submitting to the man, you might want to rethink your relationship. Because as women, it's natural. If we trust a man completely, especially with our safety, it's natural for us to want to submit. So if you don't want to submit to a man, if you're questioning him, yeah, you might want to rethink your relationship.
That's true. That's true. There's nothing but I agree. I think yeah, when you're with a man that you can trust internally and easily, I think you naturally will fall into a place of submission. I know within myself, I fight myself a lot because I'm not used to yielding that space. And it's not always previously, it was out of fear of listen, I ain't trust you to help me across the street. So I certainly wasn't trusting you with my heart. You know, I knew what I could trust you with. So submitting to the wrong person, like, you know, it's when that wall goes up. But when you're in that space, like you said, when you know, man has got you and you are feeling safe and secure, it is easier to want to submit, but it is hard to unlearn not having submitted, So yeah, indeed, you need to get on that book. I just want a chapter in there when you get to that. I just want a chapter. Summer's Voice, Pastor Chris says, I have no issue with a strong woman, ladies. And yes, it's been a minute from the major shift of social media church life, but it's okay to be soft in that place. But knowing how is the issue. Yeah, a lot of us have forgotten how to be soft because we've had to be everything and be hard. Sometimes in the midst of being, I don't know about you, okay, in the midst of being everything to everybody, I forgot how to be soft because I didn't have time to rest. I did not have time to relax. I didn't have time to embrace or let my shoulders down. I remember when my son, when me and his dad divorced, and he used to, even when he was born, and we used to alternate like weekends and stuff. I could not afford, even when my son went with his dad, I couldn't afford to let my shoulders down and relax because the minute I got myself to that space where I felt like I could let go and be free, he was coming right back. So I had to go right back to being on duty. I don't know if y'all have experienced that as well, but if you think about like, where was the time for me to be that delicate? I couldn't be, I didn't have a man cover me. I didn't have somebody that I didn't have the shoulder to lean on. This is why the shoulder is so important to me. Give me a good shoulder, honey. I will be in heaven. Okay. Let me rest my head for 5 minutes just to clear my mind. But when you don't have that, all you have is that strong female energy. That's all I knew to come with. And it becomes abrasive to some men because they don't understand you're operating in survival. You ladies want to share? Anybody else? Disciple Spencer says, me too, because I was being Wonder Woman. Right. And I didn't want to be. I did not want to be. I didn't want to be it, but my actions created that space. So I had to take on the responsibility of the consequences.
I'm a
Pastor
tag
Chris said, I
team
think
on
it's,
this one. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Pastor Chris said, I think it's called lease options. LOL. Oh, these are what the roster. Jen just said.
I'm gonna say
on.
I'm gonna high five you in the spirit, dap you, because that is it right there. Having to be it. I think that in recent years I've had people who have said to me, I don't know how to process when you cry. I don't know how to process when you not there, because you've always been there. You've always been that. You know, for my kids, for like, I had to be the one, like between myself and my ex-husband, I was the one that was called to school because I got the thing done. Like, everybody understood when Miss Brown walked into the building that there was going to be issues resolved, people were going to be corrected, children were going to be in alignment, and when I left, the building would still be standing, not completely, but it would still be standing. And that's how I promise you. I mean, I had 2 boys, so I couldn't afford to be. I couldn't afford to be a punk. I couldn't afford to be like, oh my God. Like, I couldn't afford to be that. There were days I would go to school with sneakers and sweatpants on to pick them up. I mean, there was a few times I would just roll out the bed like, let's go, because we got to get to school. And my kids like, no, Mom, you can't go outside like that. You couldn't go outside. But I also know that is, again, I had a husband for 10 years, but I still had to be strong, because I'm not mad at him. I just married the wrong damn man. Listen, it is what it is. Like, the marriage failed because of both of us. I'm not going to tell anybody. In the beginning, I would say it was his fault. It wasn't his fault. We both played a role in the demise of our marriage, no matter how we look at it. But I also know that I married someone that did not have the backbone that I needed to match my energy, as they say. Again, I'm not mad at him. Like, he plays that role. He speaks of a thug, but he don't have the responsibility and the actions of a thug. And I say that because we as women, this is why, I understand mental health, but I also understand that we think with mental health, we're starting to go so far left that we're still missing that some things are not mental health issues. Some things are just bad choices. The same thing, church hurt. Everybody took church hurt and they ran it so far away to the left that now they have mental health connected to church hurt. And at some point, it's about forgiveness with the church hurt. It's about, okay, let me work through my trauma. And it's the same thing as I'm the strong woman. I don't want to be strong. But when I see that I may be in a situation where I have to be or I need to be, I know that that's not the place that I want to be. Because there are days I don't feel like being that. There's days where I don't feel like showing up. I don't want to answer the phone. And this is what it is. And it goes to needing a man, for someone to come in. And I'm not asking, and I want to make sure that I'm clear. I'm not asking him to rescue me. I'm not asking him to come in and stand at the top of the hill with his arms extended with a stick in his hand, talk about I am Thor. That's it. No, I just want him to partner and allow me to still hold on to what has made me the woman that he's attracted to, because he met me in all of this. And sometimes I don't want women to feel that they gotta lose who they are to be a part of somebody. You may have to do some alternating, but don't lose who you are, because if he met you while you were Shiro, Wonder Woman, and Batgirl, maybe he should even say, baby, pick which one you want to be. You want to be Batgirl today? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to be all those things. Which one can I put down? And know that when I put her down, that I'm not asking you to come in and rescue the day. I'm just asking you to partner with me. And I think that that's the key thing that we're missing. And somebody told me it's not it is a partnership. He's still the priest. He's still the prophet. And for those who are not saved, I can't tell a woman who ain't saved about a priest and a partner. So I gotta say to her, you looking for a partner. You want someone who's gonna come in, not rescue you. It's not his responsibility to take in and paying your bills. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying that should be a decision that is made jointly. And I'm hearing women, well, he gotta pay my bills. Hold on, what you doing? He gotta buy me a $3,000 bag, but what you buying for him? Like, I mean, I'm seeing the demands, and if we're not prepared to meet and match the same thing we're expected, then we gonna be single. You're never gonna need and folks gonna be a gold digger.
I think that's where the balance comes into play. And then especially self-balance. I have learned when it comes to my feminine energy, I'm feminine in the house, but I'm feminine also outside the house. And as a high school teacher, I have to be both masculine and feminine. You know, there are times when I do have to be more assertive. I don't know if it's because of my presence, because typically, you know, I'm in a dress and heels. So right away, people see me and think feminine. So even when I'm aggressive, you know, they're not put off. But it's really about being able to balance it. And like she said, when you're used to being in a relationship where you've got that masculine energy up 90% of the time, it's really hard to change it. You know, and I'm at that age where I'm not trying to do that. I like to be soft.
Listen,
all of that
I had to relearn. I had to find it.
We have those of us, and I'm gonna speak for me and my story, where I didn't know what being feminine was, right? So it wasn't a matter of I didn't have the time or I didn't have, you know, the room to be feminine. When you don't have those examples and you aren't raised to be in that space as a little girl, and you grow up and you're always just in this masculine energy, or you're always just being and doing and making things happen, and that's been your story from the beginning, it's hard to teach yourself how to be something that you don't know what it is. It's just like when you come to God and you come to Christ, when you have to teach yourself the Bible without church, that's hard, because you take your own interpretation of things, and your interpretation or what you make out of it might not necessarily be right. So I think for a lot of young ladies and even grown women these days, some of us didn't have the example of what feminine energy looked like, because our mothers, grandmothers, aunts were all in a space where they had to be in survival mode. They all had to be strong. They all had to be independent and make things happen. So we took on that same persona of making things happen. I'm going to put everything on my shoulders and I'm going to go. I'm going to be Superwoman, Wonder Woman, Catwoman. I'm going to do it all. And I'm going to call him when it's something that I'm just too tired to do, or I just can't, because physically this isn't a woman's thing and I'm not about to try to do it, right? But it's really hard to unlearn something that is a part of you, or that you've always known. So now you're looking for other examples or other ways to try to figure out what that feminine energy looks like in a relationship, or just for yourself, even if you're not in a relationship, even in a single space. You know, it's hard to figure that out. And that's where a lot of us fall. We don't have the examples, or we weren't brought up like that to see what that looks like. So we're in the middle of a struggle. We're self-teaching something that we have no idea what it entails.
That's good.
That's really good. I just want to hop in real quick and just say, you know, one of the things about it is, and then I want you to jump in, Zenja. You talked about how it's hard to become something we haven't seen. And unfortunately, a lot of us, because of what we have seen, we as women equate what we've seen to being female energy, which is why we continue the cycle of this hard woman. I've said it before, you know, there's a lot of wounded women teaching young women how to be women from their hurt. So you're not even giving them a chance to develop that softer side of them, because you yourself haven't healed from your choices that brought on the trauma, in your own life. So you haven't dealt with that. So the depiction of what female energy is looking like comes across as this, I'm the boss chick and I need and I got and I don't need you and I'm just going to use you for this and for that. And what you're going to do for me is the list of things like Dr. ND said, the $3,000 bag, do for me. No. And that's the thing. And that's why we don't know what that soft side female energy is, a lot of us. And unfortunately, a lot of grown women, again, don't know what it is, because we haven't allowed ourselves, again, to heal from those things that are putting up those walls that are still causing us to be hard. But like Dr. ND said, then you want a man and you want a husband. Well, what room are you giving for him to come in? Would you want to be somewhere where anybody telling you, well, I don't need you for this, I only need you for these 5 things, and this is your relationship, this partner? And it's like, no, that's an employee-employer relationship. I come in to do this task, you pay me, and then that's not relationship. Just
it worked in the past though. It got the bills paid.
I'm just saying it worked on the task sheet. It worked.
Role play, keep it spicy. Role play.
Oh, watch your voice now. Watch your voice. It's not even 8:30 yet. It's just turning up.
That's late night. That's late night with Lady Don B.
Right. Come on, Zid. You was gonna say something before. I'm sorry.
So I really agree with Lady Deshawn on that, what you've seen when you growing up. So one of my passions is in mentoring young women, and the groups that I've had, like the group that I have now at my high school, they're called the Ladies of Towers. And I teach them, about femininity. Not that my mom was the most feminine woman, because she was a single mom. So, I had to watch her dwell in her feminine energy a lot. But I did also see that feminine side of her, when she dated or when she got dolled up, and was just a little softer. So I noticed in the schools, the girls are very aggressive. They're up to the point where they're hitting, the guys, like physically punching and socking. And I have to tell them, what you practice what you become, or what you practice what you become. So they get so used to hitting on each other that when they get older and they're in a relationship, or some of them have had it where at school they're dating somebody and it becomes violent. And so they don't know how to separate the difference. So it's really just learning. And then in your relationships, I believe we can learn from the men in our lives on what femininity is.
Yeah, or what they expect. I want to read some comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. You are on with the ladies' room on tonight, on Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B. Now, I'm gonna tell that I said I sent out a call to the fellas purposely, because next week the men are going to be talking about this same subject from the male perspective. So I wanted them to make sure that they were in the house if possible. So our men's lounge squad, led by one of the lead moderators, Pastor Chris, he put out the call earlier, calling out the fellas because he needed some assistance. But Linwood Bill is in the house talking about what y'all in here lying about.
That's your man, Lady Deshawn. That's your man right there.
Right.
That's mine, and I'm gonna stick beside him.
Come on now. Stick beside this kind. Stick beside this kind. He says the lady in the top right corner kind of cute. She married. I believe she is. I believe she's married. Yeah, she is. But she might be nice to you if you're nice. I don't know. She might be a little friendly. I could introduce you later. I'm trying to find Pastor Chris was in here calling out the men's lounge for some backup. Normally y'all can handle it, but on tonight the ladies is talking. But we are sharing about strong female energy does not replace the strong male presence. Teddy Bear Music, that is one of my producer friends, long-time friend. Corey's in the house. He says many men being raised by a strong woman are more emotional than manly. Maybe. I think emotion is, I think for me that goes to expectation of defining what manly is, and it kind of gets to that men aren't, in my mind, the first thing that comes up is men are not supposed to cry. So when we talk about being emotional versus manly, I'd rather you bear your heart than your fist, and only bear your fist when it's necessary. So in defining, like, well, what is that as far as manly is concerned? But that's a good point, Teddy Bear. That's a good point. Pastor Chris says, my brother is in the building. He said, oh, he's gathering his troops. It gets a little combative when we get to the ladies' room and the men's lounge. When we do our verses, it just goes far left. It's toxic from the time we create the show. Simon says, we ready in the VIP seats. It's okay. Y'all going to be up next week. Let's see. And Pastor Linwood said, I'll pass on that one at the bottom left. Listen, don't get ND started, because she gonna finish what you start. So want to get back into this conversation. We're not gonna let the men distract us today. We're not gonna fall into their tactics and their foolishness.
Can I
but yes,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What was his name about the men are raised by strong women?
Oh, Teddy Bear, Corey. He says, let me put his comment back up. Many men being raised by a quote unquote strong woman are more emotional than manly.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, because I've dated 2 or 3 men who were raised by strong women, and I can tell you 2 of them lacked emotions. They were not emotional at all.
Oh,
they did not have the capacity to be emotional. And I'm not saying they didn't, but I also know that some of it stemmed from the woman that was raised by, but I also know that it was also life experiences that put them in the place of not being emotional, because of, one in particular, his first love did him dirty. That was in high school. Bruh is in his 50s and he's still struggling. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying anything bad. I just think that we, from a woman's perspective, because I raised 2 strong Black men. I raised them, and they are emotional, but they are balanced. I have to say, because when I think that they should be, that they're actually not. And I've watched them. I think to see my son shed a tear takes me to a place like, whoa. Not that they're not in touch with their emotions, but I've watched how they have grown as men. They manage their emotions differently, and I've had to learn how to engage with them as men from a different perspective as when they were boys.
That's good. And I can agree. He also says, what I meant is men teach men how to control their emotions. And he's a personal friend of mine. He and I go back and forth, like, we flesh it out, keep it real, like, it gets strong. It gets strong in the conversation sometimes. And what I do know, I think in his comment, he's also saying, if I'm understanding in his way of speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, but because we kind of touched on this in one of our conversations about men teaching men how to control their emotions. Like you said, ND, men express their emotions differently than we as women do. And it takes a man to teach a young man how to do that, where he's not perceived as feminine. I know for me, my son, like I said, and I've shared this before, I told him, go ahead and cry. I've never told him not to cry. I said, if you feel something, cry. If you feel something, you yell. If you feel something, don't punch my wall because you're going to hurt yourself, but punch the pillow, whatever it is. But, acknowledge what you're feeling, express it. Let's talk about it. If you need to cry, you cry it out. We ain't going to cry all day. I don't care if you're male or female. At some point, the tears got to stop. You got to regroup, get yourself up, but I think it is kind of difficult. I understand. And indeed being in your shoes, raising a young man, it's hard for me I've had to be non-reactive. I was around a lot of most of my friends were male, so I was around a lot of guys. So I kind of picked up a lot on how they respond or their lack of response to some things, and I became like that kind of, that way. And then having a son, being a single mom and having a son, I didn't want him to be super emotional. So knowing that I'm who he sees every day, and who he's emulating after, not just listening to what I say, but he's watching what I do. I made sure that even as I express my emotions, there are times when he's seen me cry and there's times when he doesn't. He sees me take it. He sees me handle it. He sees me, again, with that strong energy that we come with, because he did not have that in his everyday. And I didn't want him to not be able to manage himself in a world as a young man with other men. So, trying to, but there's only but so much that I can do, because at the end of the day, I'm not a man. So I don't know what he's feeling and how he's interpreting inside, but I think that men do need to teach our men and our young boys how to control their emotions in the positive way. Y'all can comment, come on, Men's Lounge, share your opinion. No, come on, Ginger, come on.
So, Lady Don, I agree with that somewhat, but the man has to be not broken. A lot of men grow up in homes where they're not allowed to show any emotion. So when you don't have control of your own emotions, it's hard to teach a child, to do that. So while men should, we don't all grow up with that. We don't all grow up with it.
No, yeah, and I agree. That definitely that's the tag on that completes the sentence, that completes my thought. You do have to be emotional, because no matter what, we're passing down what we've learned. And until you heal, you won't know how to navigate the next generation through it. And even if you haven't completely healed, at least share with them up to the point that you have. Some knowledge is better than no knowledge. Don't just leave them out there with the blind leading the blind. But, again, the flip side of that for me is, again, that was a situation or a time when I wasn't able to rest or embrace my female, energy. I couldn't go have a meltdown in the corner because my stress level was to 10,000, my chest, my heart's beating out my chest, and my pressure's up, and I don't even have a problem with pressure, but because we are taking on all of these things, I didn't have that opportunity. I had to suck it up, compress it down and go together. Yeah. Because we got to survive, because it's not just me, it's us and those that we carry with us. So, you're absolutely right. I totally agree. The man needs to be healthy as well. Pastor Chris says, I agree, Lady Z. That's it. That's all you got, Pastor Chris. You're being kind today. Corey says, and what households are most of these type of men coming out of? It varies. It varies. We all have to get healthy. There is no perfect household. Even in a 2-parent household, there is no perfect household. Because we're still forever learning and growing together. But this has been great conversation thus far. I'm thanking you, ladies, for your shares. I do want to, since we're talking about the dynamic of the male and the female, about our energy and their presence. Okay. He says that was for Miss Zinja's comment. Right. And what households are these type of men coming out of, which is like she was saying. But I want to ask you, ladies, if you can just share in your opinion and your thought and your feelings. Only one more comment. I'm sorry, while we're on this, before we move on to the next thing. Landon Price. Welcome, Landon. I didn't see you. I'm so sorry. Welcome. So it's the ladies who tells men to have fun growing. The man expects to be respectful and provide. I want to make sure I was reading that right. It's the ladies who tell men to have fun growing, and the man explains or is expected to be respectful and provide. can elaborate on that a little bit, because I think we're missing part of what you're trying to say, and I don't want to assume. But while we're talking about this female energy and male presence, if you ladies could share in your own words, like we were saying, some people don't know what female energy is. Can you share in your words what female energy is? Because there may be someone who needs to maybe displaying it or maybe feeling it, not knowing how to identify it. So if you could just share a little bit in your mind's eye or in your experience, what that female energy, what our female energy really is and what it's like. Whoever wants to start.
Well, typically they would say feminine energy, we're more emotional, we're more nurturing, empathetic, passive. So even though both genders exhibit those characters, it's said that we exhibit it more.
Right. That's good stuff, that we exhibited more. I see ND is getting ready to bust. Come on, Deshawn, before ND goes.
Right, because she about to tear us all up, throw us all into a wall. Listen, for me, and this is me still in my process of learning what the feminine energy is. For me, it is just being able to be in that space where I don't have to be forceful, right? I can really kind of just lay back, relax, and kind of go with the flow. I can allow a man to lead and rest in following, that I can be more supportive. I don't have to necessarily do the things that we would consider to be gender role to a man. I can stick to the more domestic type of things. However, I think being feminine and masculine energy go way beyond gender roles. When we're looking at a household and in a relationship, I think it's more about just those characteristics of being the softer side. You're softer spoken. You're slow to anger. When you speak, you're speaking from a place of positivity and love. That you're just kind of we're kind of just we're like a little Princess Barbie, so to speak, without it just being materialistic. But you're softer.
No, that's good. That's good.
I
And
heard his
I want
music
to
go off.
say,
He coming.
when Lord Jesus, I want to say when it comes to female energy, and like you said, Deshawn, about the princess type mentality, or that vibe. I think we have to understand, in our feminine energy, it doesn't mean that you are weak. It doesn't mean that you are less than. I believe when you are resting in your female energy, you are confident in who you are and in what you do. I believe that you are, you know how to operate in strength and grace at the same time. I believe you know how to be assertive but kind. I believe that resting in my feminine energy is being able to speak sweetly but impactful and get the results at the end of the day. All those things are part of our feminine energy, I believe. And even in the mode of, or in the sense of being a princess, one thing that, we, and I believe in calling little girls princesses and letting them know, because, identify you are somebody, you are something, you are royalty, you are regal, you are purposeful, you are a leader. But what we also have to understand is that even the princess has responsibilities, and resting in our feminine energy does not mean that someone caters to you every minute of the day. It means that you know your strengths and you are able to execute them, again, with grace and with kindness, but with strength as well. So we could be princesses and we could be queens, and what we don't see in those moments is that, the princess and the queen might be out there sitting pretty and waving, but behind closed doors, there's a whole work and a whole process and whole preparation that they have to go to be built up, in order to step into what they are called to do. So your feminine energy is not a weakness. It's actually a strength that has a purposeful place. So I am going to turn it. Oh, I just want to see. Okay, Teddy Bear says because we know ND can go in. Corey says that was good. No, it don't mean you got to go far, sis. But we know. Teddy Bear says you ladies give correction in nurturing way. Yes, we do. Pastor Chris says I have a little princess, but I'm also showing our to be who she is as a young lady by being fierce like a lioness. That part. And that's true, but you also have to teach. We got to make sure that we're teaching balance. Come on, ND. Come on. Now that Pastor Chris has sent out the clarion call for backup.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm gonna say this. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of Lady Deshawn. I'm gonna take a little bit of Lady Z, and I'm gonna say my feminine energy. And I think I'm gonna speak for a lot of the single ladies. Varies based on where I'm at. I don't, and I think that comes because of the self-confidence that I have. I think that also comes from the love that I have for myself. That I don't get beside myself. And I understand that there's some times where I am feminine all the time. So it doesn't cut off. It doesn't change. I'm feminine all the time. There are just some times, excuse me, sir. There are some times where I am still feminine, but I also
was that
have
feminine, or was that the strong?
That was yeah. I'm both of them. I'm both of them because the truth of the matter is I don't.
You said it with a chest. You said it with a chest.
Yeah, I don't know how to go back and forth. I gotta stay consistent, and I think that my consistency is I'm always gonna be a lady. I'm gonna show up as a lady. I'm always nails, hair, or makeup, all that. I'm gonna show up as a lady, and when I sit at the table, will discern how much femininity you gonna get, and how much femininity that I have to reserve. Because there are times I have to show up. I mean, just me showing up, I'm lady all day. But once I show up, I sometimes have to shift gears. I never lose who I am.
Right.
I never am not a lady. I just have to say what I have to say. And sometimes feelings get hurt. Sometimes people have to deal with the truth. And even me, sometimes I have to face the truth about me too. Because I may be somewhere and somebody may say something to me that I now have to pause. I'm still going to be feminine, but my response is going to be predicated on how I need to respond. And I don't think that we ever lose it. I think that it just takes on different dynamics and roles based on where we're at and how we have to be addressed and how we have to address others. So I don't think that there's a difference or how we deal with it or what we deal with it. I think that we're always going to be that. I just think that sometimes that we don't know how to switch gears in order for us to be effective. I think that sometimes we think that we are always going to be feminine. That's how we are. Most of us is made that way. We always gonna show up. Heels is my portion, but a pair of sweatpants and some sneakers and a baseball cap like Lady Z is it too. That doesn't make me less sexy. That doesn't make me less attractive. I'm attractive whether I got 4 inches in or I got a pair of Nikes on. I'm still that girl. And I think that once we figure out that we are that, we can begin to start to navigate and curve out what doesn't need to belong and what we need to put away. And I do believe in all of that. And we can say whatever we want to say. But one thing that I know is true is that love will shift all of that. I feel you, Holy Ghost. It's at the Bible saying, love will take the woman who may have been a fighter all her life and make her a ballerina. It doesn't mean that she's not a fighter. It just means that she now doesn't have to be a fighter on the forefront all the time. She is still a fighter, but now she decides to show up differently because she has a reason to show up differently. Because one, she loves herself, but now she's getting the love that she has for herself from an outside source that values who she is from the inside.
That's good. That's good. She's dropping nuggets, putting a pretty bow on it. Come on, Zinja. Oh, you would just say amen? No, that's good. I think we do have to be women at all times. Uh, you know, and the key is when you figure out your feminine energy, when you figure it out,
It's a
you
superpower.
have to learn. Yes, ma'am. You make it work for you. Make it do what it do. It's like I tell my son is a big dude. He's a really big, he's like 6'1" and like 280 or something like that. So like he looks like that. He's like the Michelin man, like a big teddy bear. And I tell him, if you ever learn how to let your weight work for you, you would be such an unstoppable beast. Like you said, your superpower. And a lot of us women, if we ever learn how to let our feminine energy work for us, we would be unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with. You would have your man going outside with his chest up to his eyeballs, because of what you add. He'd be puffed out looking like some, like a cartoon character, but you have to learn how to use it. You have to find out what it is. Like Lady Zinja said, like a superpower, and learn how to use it in a positive way. Pastor Chris said, no, it doesn't. A hat and sneakers is very attractive. Just saying. Disciple Spencer says, yes, Doc. Welcome to Dr. Jackie Chambers. Thank you for joining us on tonight. Please like, subscribe, and share. We are appreciative of everybody being with us on tonight for this conversation. We are talking about strong female energy does not replace strong male presence, because we as women, we need to learn how to take these things and make room for men in our lives. It is not to replace him. It is to be in addition to. A woman that knows how to rest in her female energy can be such a great asset to a man who has that strong male presence. Your female energy, your independence is not meant to replace. It is meant to complement. We are meant to work with and alongside. And when we do that, we will take some of the stress off of our shoulders. We carrying a lot of stuff we were not built to carry. And that's why we stress. That's why we are unhappy. That's why we struggle so much. But we have to understand it does not make you weak. And I think that's what happens with a lot of women. I know I've met and encountered a lot of women who don't want to do that because I can't with this one. That part, making the dad bod sexy with the chest out. Yes, sir. Bring dad bods back. Bring the dad bods back. We love the dad bods. Yes, sir. But we have to understand that there is a place, for us, and there is a place for our men, and we have to stop pushing them out of the way and make room. Again, I hope you all are enjoying this conversation. We're going to be wrapping it up soon. And this has been a good start. Again, the men's lounge is going to be, oh, hey, Levon, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. He says, amen. Levon says, appreciate you stopping by on tonight. We want to start repairing relationships and start breaching this bridge. We want to start repairing those broken places in relationships within ourselves, first of all, because then we'll show up better when we find that person that we are meant to be in relationship with, and that is key. And while we're talking, we shared about what is female energy, and each of the ladies, we shared what that is to us. We have to consider, in being who we are in that female energy, what room does that leave in our lives for the male's presence, for him to be in our space, for him to be a part of our world and a part of his world. And again, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. But I want to ask, do we have to choose? Do we have to choose between being strong, independent, feminine women and having the male presence in our lives? I want to go to, I'm going to go to Deshaun first, and then to go to Zinja, and then I want to go to Dr. ND. Do you think that we have to choose between the two, or can we have a healthy balance of both?
To choose between the two, but I think you have to choose who you're going to be in both. You can have your independence and be a strong woman and still have the man. It is very much so possible. It's up to you to choose how you're going to show up in each space. Am I going to show up and be the strong Black woman with my husband and not allow him to lead and overpower him and emasculate him? Or am I going to be the helpmeet that I was born to be and encourage, support, and show my strength through grace, as you said? I don't think anybody has to make a choice, but you also have to choose the man that's going to fit your life. You can't, just like you can't be everything for everybody, you can't be a woman for every man. You can't show up as yourself for everybody. All of us on this stage, I think, have been married before, and you were somebody completely different with the previous husband than you are in the relationship you're in now or every relationship thereafter. You show up differently for different people. So if you know that I am a strong Black independent woman and this is who I am, but I also am a wife, I'm a helpmeet, I'm a supporter, I'm a nurturer, I'm a lover, then you have to make the choice on who is going to be the perfect man for you to be that too. And I must say, I've been blessed. I've been blessed that my husband allows me to grow into that space with him, and we've learned how to grow together and be what each other needs. Could I be this person with anybody else? Absolutely not, because I gave my ex-husband hell on wheels. I ain't even gonna lie, it wasn't all him. Just like Indy said, it wasn't all him. It was some of me, and a lot of me was because I did not submit. I was hell on wheels. I had everything to say. I had an opinion about everything. I ain't doing this. I don't care what you do. This is how it's gonna be. Like, I was her with him. So when you make a decision on who you're going to be and how you want your life to look, you also make a decision on the type of man that you want and what you need from that man to be that woman. Hey, babe.
It's not your turn, sir.
Yeah, go sit down somewhere. I always want to feel like you're a part of something.
She said, go do something. I don't know what she said.
Lord Jesus.
I told him to go sit down somewhere. Don't nobody want to see his head.
You just had to have some attention.
Just had the attention.
Just had to. See what I'm saying?
See that last little pea on the plate, trying to hold on, hoping that nobody don't eat him. Tell him to go somewhere and sit down.
So you can't even rest in your female energy without him bringing his strong male presence. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Listen. And I'm okay. And that's what you have to figure out. You got to make a choice. Am I okay with his presence always being there? Because guess what? When he's there, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to be strong. I could relax. I could take all of those hats off and just wear the one. I could just wear that one hat and be just Deshaun and let him worry about everything else. And all I have to worry about is taking care of him. So, hey, you have to figure out what it is that you want. That's the choice you have to make. What is it that I want? And what do I want it to look like?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I think Lady Deshaun said it well.
And make sure he supports you.
Yeah. I think she said it well. I don't feel like you have to choose either. While I enjoy resting in my femininity, I can get into my masculinity real quick. It's about knowing the mate, like she said, that you're with and catering to them, so to speak. I know Gregory prefers for me to be more feminine. It makes him feel more needed. So I don't have a problem with that. I've never been able to rest in my femininity like that before. So, it's a wonderful thing. So I think it just really depends on your relationship, but also knowing when you have to be masculine and being able, to be there.
No, that's good. That's good. I hear balance with both of you women. And from the different perspectives and even how you're voicing it, is key because everybody hears differently. So your voices are resonating with other people, you know, and giving them an opportunity to think about the fact that you no longer have to choose. You know,
No.
it's you can have both. There's a way to balance. And Pastor Linwood got, you know, the men cheering for him in the comment section. So but that don't mean come back, Linwood. That don't mean come back. Pastor Chris says growing pains are needed to be successful with the right partner. Let's go. Absolutely. There are going to be growing pains. There should be, because you're forever evolving and changing, you know, as you are formulating your relationship and you're becoming something that you were not before. Like Deshaun said, different versions of you show up for different people, you know, and if you can allow me to be the version of me that I've always wanted to be, naturally and organically, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Come on, Dr. ND, tell us your thoughts. Do you think that we have to choose between the two?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna co-sign with my sisters and say no. I'm not going to. I'll let you know when I get to that space where I can rest completely in that. I'm not sure if I will ever do that. I think because it's just part of my DNA. Um, I'm just that girl. Like I'm that girl. Um, and I'm okay with that. And I believe that whomever my mate is gonna be all right with that. Um, he's gonna be all right with me being who I am. Of course, there's some tweaking and some stuff. I'm gonna have to now share my closet. You know, I'm gonna have to make sure the closet is big enough because of my shoes and pocketbooks. That means that, you know, I don't have to cook all the time. I don't mind cooking. I mean, there's some adjustments that will have to be made, and I'm okay with that. Because I feel if I'm making the adjustments, he's worth the adjustment. Um, and that being said, then I know that I'm safe, because I'm that girl. I'm all right with like what you said. Like we don't do that. But I'm okay if someone says no, I got this, and I can trust that is taken care of. I can rest in the assurity, and I always give this this thing I say to people. I've had to drive my whole life. I've been in the driver's seat my whole life. I welcome the day where I can pass the keys on and sit in the passenger seat and go to sleep. And when I wake up, I know that I'm at my destination safely. That's when I know that it is what it is. Until that time comes, I'm still driving. Because for me to give the keys means that I'm safe, I trust, and I'm okay with being not having to show up all the time. I'm okay with not being Shira, Batman, Batgirl, Catwoman, and all the rest of the female. I don't have to be that. I can choose one, and make sure that my weaknesses are not taken advantage of, but that they're strengthened, which means I really don't have any weaknesses with him. So I'll wait for it. I'll let y'all know when it happens. I think the world will know when it happens, because I believe that the two of us will be a force to be reckoned with in the kingdom, and in the earth realm as well. So I'm excited about what's going to happen when he shows up, because Lord knows God is probably taking a little extra time with him to prepare him. Before he says, son, I'm going to give you 2 backbones because you're going to need one just for her alone because she's special. But when you know your truth, you can speak your truth and rest in your truth, and no one else can tell you your truth because it is your truth.
No, that's good. That's good. We got a few comments I want to read before ladies giving their final comments. Lavon says, and being support doesn't always mean being alpha all the time. And that's true. That's what the men. It doesn't mean that. He also says, why is it you sharing your closet and not him sharing his? I know it's probably ain't big enough. I think it just goes either way. Whatever closet they got, they gonna need more. Okay, so whoever he is, make room for our sister, bro. She gonna need to use what you may consider the man cave is gonna have to be her dressing room. Okay, Treat her right because she comes with us. Okay. All right. I'm just saying. Um, Pastor Chris says, Dr. Indy, you will need a whole Sade and Shondo and Sheila. I can't with him. The right and the left hand of fellowship. We love you, Dr. ND. We, y'all pray for y'all pray. Y'all ain't praying. Somebody pray. As God is working on me. Disciple Spencer says, as God is working on me, he is also working on my future husband. Yes, yes, and yes. This is all about us getting to the happy medium. No one person having to come across the line any further, not 51, 49, not 99, 1. We want to come 100, 100 and meet at the line so that we can move forward together. And D, I love what you said about in making the adjustments, it meaning the person is worth the adjustments. That is key. That is key. I had to write that one down because that is true. I mean, I wrote a whole lot of stuff down, but that is true. You won't have a problem in making the adjustments because you know that person is worth the adjustments. And I think for us ladies, you need to know that there's someone out there that understands that you are worth the adjustments. So you don't have to be all of these things at the same time. Lady Deshawn had to pop off, and we thank her for her input as always as one of our Ladies Room Squad members. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us on tonight. I hope this conversation was good. It is something that we will continue to revisit again, because as we go and we grow, there's always something else to discuss. But we hope that the gems and the nuggets and the shares and the experience that we'll put out tonight, that you pick up what resonates with you, and the rest, take it with you, put it in your well and store it for the day, because there's a day coming where you're going to need it. Don't leave any information on the floor. Make sure you take it with you on tonight. We were talking about strong female energy does not replace strong male presence and the balance thereof. So I want to give space for our ladies to have their final comments before we close on tonight. So come on, Lady Zenja. Thank you, my beautiful sis. I so enjoyed having you on with us tonight. We're going to make sure that you come back again. We're going to borrow you again, ask Greggy to borrow you again or something. I don't know.
Thank you. You know, I've been multitasking in here and then listening to Gregory at the same time. I couldn't miss the show. So, yeah, I just don't
that's a woman on her post. See, she's not doing either or. She's doing both. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
You cannot replace the male presence. It is needed from the beginning till the end. I think the female presence complements that, our feminine energy. So yeah, it's just important. And then you need that balance. Every relationship needs that balance.
Amen. That's right. Every relationship needs that balance. You gotta find your place, know your place, and find your place. Thank you for your shares. Come on, ND. Come on, give us some final comments on this subject tonight.
It was a pleasure, Lady Z, to have you here. I just enjoyed everything with you and about you. The only thing I have to say is that do the work. Show up. I think it's important that we show up and we do the work, and we take the good with the bad, because you're never too old to learn and to relearn, whether you're a believer or not, because the word of the Lord never stays the same. The word that we may have read today may have a completely different meaning 3 days from now. And as God is always evolving, so are you. And the moment you start to limit yourself, you will die in the space that you limit yourself in. And the word of the Lord says that he has asked us to have life and life more abundantly. He was not talking about money. He was talking about everything that associates to your living. So live your best life with no excuses and no regrets. But stay true to who you are, but stay even truer to God.
Amen. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Stay true to God. Whatever your moral compass is, tap into that and stay true to it. Again, I want to thank you, ladies, the ladies' room on tonight, for coming and sharing and making this conversation dynamic as you always do. I love and appreciate y'all. I want to invite everyone to come back next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for some Toxicity, as we have the men's lounge popping on again. They're going to be talking about the same topic. Strong female energy does not replace strong male presence, and it will be from the male perspective. So as they leaned in tonight, and I know they were taking notes, so we are prepared for their shares on next week, and we will be leaning in as well with our notebooks, okay, taking notes, and we're gonna light up the comment section just as well. Thank you, Lady Deshawn. Thank you, Lady Z. Thank you, Dr. ND. Could not do this without you guys. And for the rest of the month, just to let you know, the following Thursday on the 23rd, we are going to have an amazing show. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a mashup between Thursday night with Lady Dawn B and Motivational Moments with my brother Gregory Bloomfield. It is going to be on and popping. Okay, so prepare yourself for that. Get your snack, invite a friend, come on in. It's gonna be good. And we're gonna wrap up the month with an open panel segment on relationships with Bishop Prophet Michael Claiborne, who was on before. He's going to be sharing. He's shared with us from his book, The Huddle. This time he's going to be sharing from his book, Her Lap, His Safe Place. You don't want to miss the rest of May. It is going to be amazing. And June is going to be fire as well. So as we close tonight, I would just say this to all. As I open the show, my comments would be the same. How do we, as we're thinking about how we are as women and the importance of our female energy and our strength and our independence, I want you to consider, how do we restore our communities when we are conditioned, we become conditioned to standing alone, and we're not meant to stand alone. We have to learn how to switch from that mindset of existing to surviving without a man, and learning how to open up and make space in order to have room to learn how to live with the men in our lives, because they need us just as much as we need them. As Lady Z said, there is a place and a space for everyone. Ladies, having a man in your life and having a man leading, as Dr. and D said, there's spaces for submission. There's a blessing in submission. Just keep in mind that it does not take away from your life to let a man lead. It does not take away from your life to let a man lead. And if it does, then you have the wrong man. Make sure we are choosing right, choosing better. And being the weaker vessel doesn't make you weak. It just leaves room for men to do their job and be the added strength that they are purposed to be. So with that, I say thank you for joining us on tonight. As always, it was another amazing Thursday night. I am so grateful. I am humbled. I am honored to be your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, here on the Bravo with Sheila Network. Before you go, like, subscribe, share us again and again, because we are not done yet. So with that, we say good night. Have a great, like my computer's acting up in these mountains. Y'all pray for these mountains, because these mountains won't let me be great. They just won't let me be great. But thank you for coming on tonight. Pray that you have a great evening, ladies. Hang out for a little bit with everybody else. Next week. Have a good night.
Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up, and the snake hits get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle and lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression. Like I'ma make the rest of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life. I'ma make rest of my life.